Whoa, what's up, guys? I'm Dave, aka the Fire King, and today we have our EBL Season 4 Week Number 1 matchup. We're going up against Matt. He is coach of the Hawaii Charizards, and we played Matt last season twice. Once regular season where we won. I believe we beat him 1-0, and then he beat us in semifinals, I believe 2-0. And, with a bit of hack from his H.Charizards, it got a double EQ crit on my Grambo 2 times. But like I said, part of the game. And so now we have to face Matt and his Charizards here in the EBL Season 4, sorry. EBL Season 4, Week Number 1. So a little bit of a revenge match. I want to pick up a nice W. Like I said, that's for knocking me out of playoffs last season. And because no one wants to start the season 0-1. So I got my good buddy Seth Flyer help me team build. And yeah, quick breakdown of my team. I got my Thunderous, especially offensive, holding the expert belt. Latios with the white glasses, 3 attacks plus Calm Mind. Infinite holding the expert belt with 4 attacks. Klefki holding the light clay, especially defensive, with the light screen, spikes, toxic, dazzling gleam. Gramble physically defensive, holding leftovers. Vileplume, especially defensive, holding the black sludge. And then Matt brought his Tapu Koko, his Hydreigon, his Licky Licky, Gliscor, Arcanine, and Mega Venusaur. I'm going to lead off with my Latios. Edgy leads off with his Tapu Koko. I don't want to take a dazzling, what is it? I didn't want to take a Dazzling Gleam, so I switched out to my especially defensive Vileplume. But he goes for the Nature Man, it does 50% to me. I get a little bit of the recovery with Black Sludge. He goes for the Z Power, his Gigavolt Havoc. I live on 12. I go for a Sludge Bomb, I knock out the Tapu Koko, and Vileplume, surprisingly, Vileplume picks up the first kill of the game and of the season for the Minnesota Victinis. And Kiri goes on to the Arcanine, and I must bring back Vileplume, save him for a sack later. I go into my Grambo, get that Intimidate off. I do have a EQ and a Super Fang. And he goes for the Toxic here. Good play on him. He's going to whittle me down little by little. I go for the Super Fang. And here he shows that he has Morning Sun. So now I know he's just going to try to Toxic Stall me. I go for the EQ, does 38% to him. Doesn't do a lot. I'm better off going for the Super Fang. But I went for the EQ there to try to see what kind of set this Arcanine is. I know it's a defensive set, but trying to see if he was more physically defensive or especially defensive. So here I switch out to my Seth Rollins, the Infinite, as he goes for Flare Blitz. I go for an EQ. It does a lot to him. Did 50% to him. And here goes for the Morning Sun. He's going to switch out into the Gliscor. I predicted a switch, went for the Fire Punch, and I get the burn on the Gliscor, which is huge for us. Infinite with the Fire Punch burn. And here I go into my Latios. SQ goes for the EQ. And now I can start setting up with my Calm Mind. I go for a Calm Mind on a +1 special attack, +1 special defense. I go for a Side Shock. Same thing, because I thought he was going to be specially defensive, but this shows that he's physically defensive. So he goes for a Body Slam, hoping he doesn't get a para. He doesn't. And I go for another Calm Mind here. Again, hoping he doesn't go for... Well, I know he's going to click Body Slam, but I hope he doesn't get the para. He goes for a Wish here. So now I know from this point I pretty much... after this this Dragon Pulse, I can knock him out. But here goes for Protect. And as he went for the Wish, I kind of thought he was going to go for Protect. But then I'm like, no, because at this point he already loses. I'm like +2 Latios. Yeah, unless this is not Choice Scarf. But I was willing to risk it because at this point I was at +1 special defense and I could take a Dragon Pulse or even a Draco Meteor from the Hydreigon. And I didn't think he was going to go for Protector because, like I said, at +1 he already loses. So at +2 he gets swept no matter what. So he goes for the Protector. I should have gone for the Calm Mind there. I would have been at +3 because this Dragon Pulse will not knock him out. If he lives on 22%, he goes for the Body Slam. As long as he doesn't get the para, but he gets the para, and this paralysis saves him from the 6-0 sweep. Because at +2 he has nothing. Nothing for my Latios unless, like I said, Hydreigon has Choice Scarf. Because I have Dragon Pulse knocks this out, Dragon Pulse knocks it out, Dragon Pulse, and then side shot for this. But at +2, even at +3, like I said, that would have been game. But he gets the paralysis, it saves him from the sweep. And here I get paralyzed. He goes for the body slam, lock on my Latios. Sucks, but it's part of the game. So now I go into my Infinite. I'm just going to click close combat, if I'm not mistaken. I go for the close combat. As he goes into the Gliscor, Gliscor eat it up, basically. Here I switch on to my Gramble, get that Intimidate drop. He goes for the Roost. And here I switch on to the phenomenal AJ Styles. I'm just going to click Hidden Power Ice here and knocking out the Gliscor. And here goes on to the Venusaur. Like I said, I have Psychic, but I don't want to go for it yet. As he goes for the Leech Seed on my Klefki. So now I can set up my screens and even put up spikes. And I decided to put up spikes here. And now I got to switch on to my Gramble, get that Intimidate drop. He goes for the Flare Blitz, I eat it up. But again, I can't really do nothing to the Arcanine. EQ is only doing like 30%, and he can stall me out with the Morning Suns. So here I switch out, now that he's at -1, into Seth Rollins. And now I'm just going to click EQ, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I click EQ on the Venusaur, switch. It only did 22% to him. I could have stayed in there and tried to go for a Fire Punch, to be honest with you. But then here, he switches out to the Arcanine. I go for a Toxic and I miss. I knew he was going to switch out, but I went for the Toxic and I missed. And now I go on to Gramble again, get that Intimidate drop as he goes for the Flare Blitz. And yeah, he goes for the Flare Blitz there. I am going to die to Toxic, but I save this Gramble for a sack for later because I have no good switches to the Arcanine. So I sack out my Vileplume there. And now we're tied 4-4. I go into Seth Rollins. I'm just going to click EQ. But he goes on to the Hydreigon. And here he switches, he predicts me to... Here you go for the Fire Punch. So this thing is Choice Scarf. He went for the Fire Blast, predicting my Klefki to come in. But I just stayed in and went for the close combat, knocking out the Hydreigon. And here he goes on to Mega Venusaur. I should have clicked Fire Punch. But I switched on to the Klefki. And I see there's a good opportunity to put on my Light Screen. Well, he goes out into the Arcanine. Like I said, I don't really have good switches to the Arcanine. I can't switch in Thundurus. Because, yeah, Thundurus is not meant to taking hits. It's meant to taking teams down. So here I'm just going to sack off my Gramble. And go out to Infernape here. Like I said, I'm just going to click Earthquake and knock it. Arcanine lives on 7. He's going to go for close combat. I live on 3. And the Toxic will knock out the Arcanine. And that's a kill for Klefki. And here he goes on to Venusaur. And honestly, again, I should have just went for Fire Punch. Here he goes for the Giga Drain. And like I said, I can set up my Light Screen here as he goes for the Leech Seed. And here I do the mistake of going out and... Oh, not this one. Here I go for the Psychic. He lives on 60. And it's going to take pretty much like 3 Psychics for me to knock him out. And it sucks now because I'm Leech Seeded and he has Synthesis. So he's going to be whittling me down little by little, which sucks. I know that. He goes for a Sludge Bomb here on my Klefki. I'm only attacking move with Dazzling Gleam. So Venusaur eats it up. And here I made the mistake of going on to Thundurus on the Sludge Bomb. It does 26% to me and he gets the poison. And I'm like, man, now I'm in deep, deep trouble. Went for the Psychic as he's just going to click Synthesis. So my Latios going down there. A bit of hacks to the Licky Licky with the Body Slam Paralysis, but that's what Body Slam does, part of the game. My Klefki here is just going to go down. And now I'm going to... my Klefki goes down here. I'm going to Infernape, go for a Fire Punch. It does 40% to him, and I get the burn. So Seth Rollins Infernape with the Fire Punch burns. Here he goes for a Giga Drain, knocks me out. I go into Thundurus. I'm just going to click Psychic. And it does... He lives on 7. He knocks me out with the Sludge Bomb, and that is GG to Matt. We start off the season 0-1, -2 differential. But like I said, hacks is just part of the game. There was hacks on both sides. The Licky Licky with the Body Slam Paralysis, it pretty much saved him the game right there from this 6-0 sweep. But we got last season we went 8-1, best team in the season overall, the regular season overall. So here we got our one and only loss out the season early. Well, hopefully. And that's about it. With that said, I will catch you guys next time. Later.